Welcome back to Two Guys in the Game Shop. I'm John.
And I'm Phil.
And today we're going to be reviewing and showing you how to play Risk Europe.
Now wait a minute. Don't turn off the video. This says Risk, but this is not the game that so many people dread. It's not like Risk at all in terms of you collect cards and you play and you get massive reinforcements and you wipe each other out. It doesn't work at all like that. This game is a game that plays very differently. It plays 3 or 4 people and has a great difference. I kind of view it as Risk in name only.
That's a good way to describe that, I feel, as well.
So we're going to explain the rules, show you what the game looks like, and then we'll talk about our thoughts on the game.
Here we have an overview of all the components of the game. We'll start with, we have the crown cards. We have money in 5s and also in 1s. We have dice. We have the city bonus tiles. We have the first player, also known as the second to none marker, as well as a case to hold all your cards. And there is also the King's Order cards, and 4 for the 4 different armies.
You've also got crowns, which are used to denote the crown areas, and that's what you determine wins with. Castles, which can be built. Your war banner markers, which keep track of how many crowns you've actually accrued during the course of the game. And then you have pieces for the 4 different armies that can be played in the game. Each one comes with a footman, an archer, an artillery piece or siege engine, and a cavalry. And each of the models are different. Not a single model is the same. So what purple has is different from what blue has, which is different from what green has, and different from what orange has. We've also got the rule book, which it's pretty simple, only 15 pages or so. A very nice board with actually embossed gold city areas for the corresponding city tiles on them. So very nice board.
Last but not least, something I'm a big fan of, I know Phil is too, is this game actually comes with a sorter. So you don't have to just throw things in bags, you can actually put them nicely and array them in here. It is not just functional, it also is quite ergonomic as well.
Yeah, and they all stay in there even when you turn the box sideways, so it doesn't spill out all over the place. Good job, Hasbro. So here you see a setup of a 2-player game. In it you will have your starting forces and your castle in one of the city areas, and then additional forces in an adjacent area. The city area that you start in, you get the city bonus tile for it, which gives you a special ability that no one else in the game has. Additionally, because it's a city area, your war banner indicates 1 crown in your control, which you then have. Now, because we determined I'm the start player, I get the second to none token, which indicates that I am starting. And in order to start a round, what you have to do is, out of your deck of 8 cards, you have to choose 2 cards to play in a round. You choose the 2 cards and you place them face down. The top card is flipped over first, the bottom card is flipped over second, so you have to make sure you put them in the proper order. And we're going to demonstrate a round to start with. So you want to select your 2?
Sure.
So when you've got them selected, you place them face down so that everybody knows they're ready to go. And then you flip over the top card when everybody is ready. And starting with the second to none player, you resolve the top card. You have a choice of 2 actions on each card. This card has a split expand or a maneuver. What I'm going to choose is a split expand, which allows me to move from one area, my footmen or my pieces, to up to 2 areas as long as I leave 1 footman behind in the area that I started. So what I'm going to do is do a split expand in this territory here. I'm going to move 3 of my footmen into Madrid and 1 footman into Barcelona, leaving 1 behind in that area. When I take Madrid, because that is a gold city area, I get the Madrid city bonus tile, and that gives me an additional special power that nobody else has. And then that allows me to advance my war banner up to 2 crowns. I get an additional crown that I get to add on, and that ends my card. And then it's John's.
So for my first one, I chose Fortify and also doing the top expand. With Fortify, you can add 3 footmen to a city or 4 to a castle. In this case, I'm going to choose 4 to a castle. And I'll choose in my castle to add 4 more footmen. So it's a nice little bonus to get some extra men real quick. Then I can also expand. In this case, I'm going to expand from the Lorraine here with just 1 guy into Zurich. Now, Zurich is not a major city, however, is worth a crown. It just doesn't have a city type. So I'll claim my 1 crown and go up 1 on the crown marker as well.
So that resolves the first card, and now we flip the second card face up. My second card, I have a choice between tax or spend. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to spend, and that allows me to take the money that I have here and buy additional troops. So referencing this nice card here, it's got the spend order, and on the other side it has a ranged attack order, or ranked attack order. So I'm going to look at the spend order, and I'm going to see that in order to buy a cavalry, it's going to cost me 3 silver. So I'll pay the 3, and I gain a cavalry. And an archer is going to cost me 2 silver, so I'm going to actually pay 4 and we'll get 2 archers. That leaves me with 1 silver left over, and I think I'm just going to buy a footman with that. So these can be placed where a castle is. I'm going to place all of them right in Paris there. And that ends my second card.
For my next card, I have Siege Assault and Expand or Maneuver. In this case, I will choose to expand. I could do the Siege Assault if I had a siege weapon. So I would have an adjacent, could attack a nearby area with a siege weapon with no way for it to get to attack back itself. It's kind of a nice freebie you can get, but in this case I don't have a siege assault, siege weapon, so I can't do that. So in this case I will move where I want to attack into, and I'll move these 3 into Paris.
And because that's the end of the round now, we resolve combat. You only resolve combat at the end of the round. So in here, because it's a contested area, we will resolve this combat. So we use our ranked attack order card here, and there are 4 ranks on it. First rank is siege weapons, but there are no siege weapons in this battle. Second rank is archers. So any side that has archers now gets to use archers. And I have 2 archers in there. And as you can see on this card, archers roll 1 die per unit, and they hit on a 5 or above. So I roll 2 dice, and I rolled a 3 and a 4, which is a miss on both of them. Third rank is cavalry. I have 1 cavalry, and the cavalry rolls 1 die and hits on a 3 or above. And I rolled a 3, so he has to take a loss. And then finally, 4th rank is all units. And when you do all units, you count up the number of units that you have total in the spot. So my defense, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now this does work kind of like Risk. The defender has a maximum of 2 dice as long as he has 2 or more people defending. The attacker has a number of dice equal to the number that they have attacking up to 3. Since he's only got 2, he's only rolling 2 dice. You roll the dice, the high roll is compared to each other, and ties go to the defender.
So in this case, I have a 5 and a 4.
And I have a 4 and a 3.
So matching up, that would be 2 losses for Phil.
Yep, 2 losses for me. So I would lose 2 of my footmen because they're not quite as beneficial. So now we start with the second round of combat. And again, we go to the archers. So I've still got 2 archers. They hit on 5 or above. And I got 1 5 and 1 2. So he loses 1 more. Next is cavalry, which hits on a 3 or above. And I rolled a 4. So that's a hit. And that eliminates his force, so combat is done. After that, you basically start a second round, and in order to do that, you take your 2 cards that you played and you set them aside. They cannot be used again until all of your cards are used. So you have to choose 2 more cards from your remaining 6 in your hand. Okay, we've got both of ours chosen, and we flip the top card. My first one is a tax or spend card, and I'm going to tax. So when you have these gold city areas, you have to choose which one you're actually going to tax. In my case, I've got Madrid or Paris. And I'm going to get a bonus depending on which one I choose. In this case, I think I'm going to tax Paris. So I get a number of silver equal to the number in the city, which is 3. And then as long as the rest of my territories connect, I gain additional silver. 1 for each area that doesn't have any city in it. So it'd be 3, 4, 5, and then the value of any adjacent cities, 6, 7, 8. So I would gain 8 money. And that is my first card.
So my first card is tax as well. Looking at what I have here, I have 4 for Berlin. 1 for Ray, making 5, and then 2 more for 7. And that will resolve my card.
So the first card is resolved. Now we flip the second card. My second card is a fortify, and then I can either expand or maneuver. So first I'm going to fortify, and I get to add 3 footmen to a city or 4 to a castle. And I think I'm going to add 4 to Paris here. And then I'm going to choose maneuver, because a maneuver can only be used to move your forces through areas you control. It cannot be used to expand into another area. All the maneuvering has to start in one area, and then it can move up to 2 areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maneuver my footmen in Madrid. Again, you always have to leave 1 behind. But because it can go up to 2 areas, I will move 1 there and 2 back to Paris to bolster Paris up. And that ends my card.
So then my second card is King me, and I take the first player marker. So then setting me up for the next turn to be first player. And then also this time I will spend. In this case I'm going to choose to spend 10. And I'm going to purchase a crown card. Now, normally you will keep these to yourself, but I kind of want to explain. In this case, it says King Mission 7. End the round with 10 or more connected territories and a single supply line. Achieve a bonus. Each time you use a maneuver order, you may now move your army's units up to 3 territories away in your supply lines instead of the usual 2. So the nice thing this one does is, so if I end a round and I reveal my card at the end of the round, if I have 2 or more connected territories with a single supply line. So if I got like all these 10 in here and they're all connected and none are apart from each other, at the end of the turn I have to be like, show this, reveal it. I will then have it face up in play the rest of the game. I can use this ability that each time I use maneuver order, I can now move my army units up to 3 territories away on your supply line instead of 2. So it kind of gives you a bonus and counts as a crown as well. So it's a nice way to get more crowns without having to just take over the entire world.
And I just remembered, I forgot to get my bonus for Paris when I taxed Paris. So it says every time you tax Paris, place 1 cavalry and 1 footman in Paris for free. Because I taxed Paris, I would get for free those forces. So that was just something I forgot with the first card there. We're going to show that there is benefit to taking these particular cities. And so that's 2 rounds of the game. Basically it continues, and the first player to reach 7 crowns is the winner. There is a continuation where you basically do 2 cards at a time. And once you get through all 8 of your cards, you get to pick all your cards back up and choose from a fresh deck. So it's one of those games where it really, you have to be careful what you choose, because that order is not going to come back around until at least 3 turns later. If you do things early on, it can come back to bite you if you're not paying close attention to what you're doing. So now you've seen how this game is different from normal Risk. The depth of this game is so much more than what is in Risk. The different pieces, the different abilities of the cities, the way the combat works, I mean, that's so completely different than Risk.
Oh yeah, it's not just, like I say, it's not your daddy's Risk. This one, just the way everything works, I mean, down to having siege weapons that attack first, which makes logical sense in a medieval war situation, you know?
Right.
Giant rocks falling out of the sky, but you're not going to get attacked back on that one, unless you get up there.
Yeah, and you know, now I'm thinking about it, we missed something in the demonstration. You actually can't attack a castle without a siege weapon. So if a person builds a castle, you're basically impervious to the enemy unless they have a siege weapon.
Which I think is a great rule, actually. It can actually, it was a big deal in the last big game we played of this, that due to the fact he had a castle, we couldn't stop a guy from winning because we didn't have any siege weapons in order to stop him. It's like, well, live and learn.
Yeah, and the individual cities, the special abilities that they have, you're really wanting to pay attention to those. Plus, they stack. I mean, it's really nice to, if you've got 2 or 3 of those, you get to pick and choose which one do I want to do. But then that also opens up new tactics in the game too, because if you can cut across the person's territory and separate all those continuous areas, they don't get taxed as much anymore. They have to choose, am I going to tax this one and get a little bit more but not get the nice benefit that they were looking for, or am I going to tax this other one and gain that benefit but not get as much money?
Oh, yeah. And just looking at your halving, if you cut their territory in half, you're halving how much taxes actually they can collect then as well.
Yeah.
So you can use that as kind of putting the squeeze on someone like Siege Warfare. It's very cool. And
then you've also got those crown cards. We really kind of got a real good taste of it the last game we played of this, where we got the crown card, completed the mission, and each crown card has just like a city tile, it has a special ability which then nobody else has, and that gives you that much of an advantage, plus it counts towards the win. You don't have to win militarily in this game. You can win by getting those crown cards and completing the missions, which is actually a really neat facet.
I think that's really neat. It actually cut down the time on the game a lot, because that's one of the big complaints, I believe, with Risk a lot of times, is just how time consuming it is. Like, well, I don't really want to play 12 hours. It's like, okay, well, this game, how long was it last time? 4 hours maybe?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours.
3.5, 4 hours?
Yeah, which isn't bad really for a Risk game. I mean, again, Risk in name only, because I really feel this works really differently than Risk, with those cards, the orders, the different abilities of the cities, the different abilities of the units. I mean, we learned right away it doesn't pay to have just a bunch of footmen.
Oh, yeah. Using that old strategy just doesn't work in this.
Yeah, you can't just move in with 20 footmen and think you're going to win, because you only get to attack in the last rank after the siege weapons and the archers and the cavalry wallop on you. It really pays to diversify in your forces.
Yeah, I had a bunch of archers in the last game, and that ended up panning out super well. Because when you have 5 archers, I mean, that's 5 shots before the other guy can ever do anything, since they go on the first rank. Same thing with those the siege weapons.
Yes, they roll 2 dice.
Yeah.
Not just 1, 2 dice, and they hit on a 3 or above. So siege weapons are really nasty in combat.
Oh yeah, and especially if you have that attack where you can do the siege assault and then move into attack afterwards. It's like doubling your attack right there, just with 1 siege weapon.
Yeah. This game, I think, is best with all 4 players being played, but we did play it once with 3 people, and it uses the 4th nation out there as a mercenary nation. And we weren't quite sure of that, but when we started playing with it, we realized, wow, this actually offers a lot of differences that you don't normally get in a game, because you have to bid on that mercenary army. The mercenary army gets the money, but the mercenary army can never win. You just use it to expand and bash on the other people, but you're limited based on the cards that come up, and you don't get to choose the cards. And so it's quite different. I mean, it's a really interesting feel in it for the 3-player. 4-player is definitely best, though, I think.
Yeah, I like the 4-player. That could be because I was on the receiving end of that said mercenary army in the 3-player game. But
I think we both got our lumps in that one.
Yeah.
But this game, I'd say, is much, much more enjoyable than regular Risk. Plays very differently. You don't have those big reinforcements and you go sweeping across the board. That doesn't happen in this game. Very, very different feel because of those orders on the cards, because of the different units. All in all, I give this definitely thumbs up. It's a fun, enjoyable game. Doesn't take too awful long to play. It's one that you can actually get done in an afternoon, and doesn't make you feel like, oh man, I've just been wiped out and this game sucks, sort of thing. You're gonna lose some crowns, some cities, but you don't have to necessarily fight for every crown because of those crown cards.
Right. That's a neat aspect to the game, because there's a lot of people I know I play games with as well that don't really, they don't mind attacking people or stuff like that, but not to the extent of, going full on war with it. This one is actually one that there's so many different tactics, I think is the best word for that. So many different tactics, because with every new territory you take, it adds so many different layers to this game. So the replay value, I think, is just amazing. Every time I played it now, it's played totally different. Nothing I've had has really ever been the same, which is just awesome. Looking at that as well, one of the great things about that is looking at the different kinds of players you can play this game with and have fun with as well. My wife she's not a big war game person, but she would actually be interested in playing because it has so many different things, and it's not. If I get over to the fact that it says Risk on the box and be like, this isn't a Risk game, but she trusts me nowadays. I'm sure a couple of times.
It's hard because, especially since they put Risk so big, everybody just thinks, oh, it's another Risk game, but it's not the same. So give it a try. It's definitely worth picking up. Definitely plays different. Much more enjoyable.
Yeah, 100% agree.
So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon.